clear what's found
because their names were out there at that point in time. We asked people obviously not to do that because those two people have been cleared. And so that was also, I think, a driver in trying to get someone, the suspect,
Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was
quickly. So attention would, in some instances, not be focused on individuals like that. I can tell you that there was another arrest here on campus yesterday, not related to this initial investigation. Tangential, there was someone, after campus was closed, who wandered onto the campus, crossed the police tape into the crime scene area on that courtyard. Officers obviously immediately engaged him, trying to find out who he was and what he was doing. He was not cooperative and told that he ran from officers at that point in time. They obviously caught him. He's been charged with felony obstruction, a significant charge here. But this is all sort of what happens after an incident like this, as an investigation like this goes on, where people still have questions and curiosity. Obviously, our goal today is to try to get a handle on some of those questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I just,
Check.
Yeah. Hey, Clay, can I go try to confirm that? Tired. Go try to confirm that. sources telling NBC News that suspect is Tyler Robinson. I have been trying to confirm that not only with the FBI but with local law enforcement. They so far have been unwilling to give me that name to confirm that that is in fact the person in custody. But want to go through a little bit about what the FBI released yesterday in terms of the video of the alleged shooter. As you can see him on the roof of the building walking back and forth, and then you see him jump off of that building and run off towards a neighborhood and then a wooded area where the FBI did tell us that that high-powered rifle was obtained. Now, the question this morning is, who is this person? Again, I want to reiterate, I tried to confirm the names with the FBI and local law enforcement. Have not received that update just yet, but again, we are awaiting. This press conference is expected to start in the next 20 minutes or so. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, is expected to be here, as is Governor Spencer Cox, and that's when we can expect to find out much more information about this person, what they know about this person, possibly a motive, why he was here Wednesday afternoon. So as soon as we get that information, we will bring that to you. We will continue to try to confirm this name, Tyler Robinson, as a suspect in this. Back to you. It's certainly different today than it was yesterday. When we got here yesterday, we were able to have a little bit more freedom in walking around parts of the campus, not the entire campus, but parts of the campus. Today was much different. Some of that is cordoned off. We were not able, I should say, to move as freely as we were yesterday. Something else that we saw this morning was a caravan of cars, the black sedans pulling up. We know some of them were FBI's and did not see talent in the caravan. But we do know that a lot of law enforcement here right now, both federal and state, working on this case and hoping to get some closure on it. First again, the suspect is in custody from the rest of the trial. Again, I do want to say that right too, that I did confirm the suspect is in custody with local law enforcement. So that is as much as we know right now, and we're waiting that press conference. There is a host of women going all around the world, and we're all waiting to see what the FBI director has to say. Absolutely, yes. Of course, you know, when the FBI director did tweet, or excuse me, posted on X that they did have a suspect in custody, and then later that person was released, and that led to a lot of questions about how the FBI was handling this, what was happening behind the scenes of this investigation. I think a lot of people are interested in the last 36 hours, what has transpired, the evidence that they have collected, and what they know about this person, the suspected shooter. Yeah, I'm going to try to see like
Certainly
a peaceful, the dominant sense of sort of pure Zion. And there's a connection, I think, to this particular event with this particular community because it was so public. There were so many people there, 3,000 war students who fled in panic, who witnessed the horror, but also 3,000 people, particularly in held hosted by Charlie Kirk. They clearly had something they spent time in this country to war. You have to say that they were spectacle. So there are many people involved invested in the events of 48 hours ago, and to that extent, does stress a bereavement widely through this community. And we're sure politics, they bubble away, and much talk about the implications of this for political debate. Where does it go? Forms a long-term reaction take in a country where political violence is on the increase, is embedded in the political culture. I suppose the discussion now turns towards them, and I suppose pans out over the longer term. But right now, the priority is one of these, is one of taking assassin killers who have been on the loose for 40 years. Behind bars, proceeding towards justice, trying liberate the man walls. I thought it was kind of a little more last night.
Sorry. Okay.
The right legal process, making sure that everything's done properly, and that legal process takes its proper course, and that involves questions principally of the suspect people who knew him and of course why this happened in the first place. The question this morning in responses will be about some of the details of reporting that hasn't been confirmed by the authorities. Reports like the writing on cases, there are reports that was all about
Lady, since last I spoke to you, I have been trying to confirm that the suspect in custody is in fact named Tyler Robinson. So far, local law enforcement officials are keeping mum on that right now. My guess is they don't want to upstage the FBI when they do announce that they have a suspect in custody. I was able, however, to confirm that a suspect is in fact in custody with local law enforcement. So we do know that. Of course, President Trump announced that earlier this morning as well. So as we await this press conference, it's supposed to start in just a few minutes. We're starting to see more law enforcement come out of offices that they have been holed up in the last 30 minutes or so. We saw them coming into campus this morning about an hour ago, a caravan of black sedans, FBI agents, as well as local law enforcement. So as we kind of monitor this activity this morning, again, we're still waiting for that press conference to learn a lot more information about who this person is and perhaps a motive behind why they were at that event on Wednesday, and possibly what exactly happened, what transpired, and how law enforcement came to the conclusion and found their person who they now have in custody.
Right now, it is clearly a political divided country, and at moments like this, when such a high-profile, influential, significant voice on the one side of the debate has been assassinated.
No, we haven't gotten a direct confirmation that he in fact will speak. My guess is, and this is my educated guess, that in fact he will, if they do have a suspect in custody. This is a little bit of a victory lap for the FBI, and they were able to apprehend someone within 36 hours of this event happening Wednesday afternoon. So my guess is he will, but I don't know that for certain at this point as we await this press conference.
But I do wonder where we are in the United States at the moment, whether or not this country has gone past at that point. We will find out in the days, weeks and months to come. But it's a problem. Political violence is an established problem here, and it's a danger tightening it up.
Well, that's a great question because it's really changed from yesterday to this morning when we arrived on campus. Yesterday we were able to walk a little bit around campus and certain portions that were cordoned off. This morning it's different. There are more crime scene tape around campus. There are certain portions that we can walk through, but most of it is cordoned off again with crime scene tape. That's new this morning for us when we arrived on campus. But also too, there's a very heavy police presence. I saw Orem Police Department, UHP, the Sheriff's Office is here as well. So a lot of local law enforcement as well as members of the FBI who are still on campus this morning.
For law enforcement, I will say we are learning from law enforcement source that the question is that the suspect is Charlie Kirk, 22-year-old, according to Associated Press reporting, but we'll learn from the police officer said that it's subject to something once we hear more from law enforcement. But based on what he was told about fighting before coming on this interview at about 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern this morning, he said that they knew with high certainty that the suspect is in custody and that the minister of Social Security could work with the father of the suspect because he couldn't turn himself in, and that they went to.
It was interesting when he did in fact say that he thought perhaps that suspect might have been a college student here on campus or even an employee. We don't know a lot about that suspect right now, as you mentioned, Tamara, but as we learn more in the minutes to come in this press conference, perhaps we might understand a motive for who this person is, where they came from Utah, not from Utah, from UVU, perhaps you're a student. So we really don't know at this point, but as you mentioned, again, Chris Bertram, a former police chief, he has been in law enforcement for a very long time, and he is making an educated guess, like many of us this morning.
There's been a lot of information from law enforcement officials, so we want to make sure that we hear directly from them in this press conference. We expect a
No worries.
We'll start in the next couple of minutes, but we are standing by. Still do not have any time.
Do a quick mic check again. Yeah. You guys need it?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6. We're hoping to get at least a 3-minute warning when they start walking, but we haven't got that yet. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Everybody good? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Good.
I'm just here to lay. Like do this if they start coming and I'm talking about okay.
accounting people,
Yeah.
and all of them getting the moment that after these types of events. And so that is something that is I will say, New Zealand, really immensely helped law enforcement because they asked for
So still no official word on the start time. We will try to give at least a 5-minute warning on that, but we'll do our best on that. So.
from that, but
Okay.
what we were just discussing on, I don't know, I would over 7,000.
They are welcome to ask me as many questions as they want. I don't know what else to say. I can answer questions.
And it's rocking down. So that's evidence that they were able to review as well. But they really think that we need the 200 communities that we accepted in terms of trying to find a suspect and having a
If it's possible. Yeah. I think I'll be proactive. Just assume that.
Well, we are hearing that it's not going to be now. We do not have an exact start time. We are told that we will hopefully get a 5-minute warning when that happens. I'm seeing officials are, press officials are gathered on the balcony above me, but no word yet.
Only time it's
I'm trying to give you 5-minute warning.
Okay.
Was sitting here yesterday doing something. Nice guy, mustache.
Okay. Yeah.
Say if he comes over here, I'll offer him a seat or something. Only because he's literally like, I've worked with him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So obviously we know this was originally scheduled to begin at 7, just pushed to 7:30, and then again we just got an additional update from actually the Utah Highway
That's
Highway
the
Patrol,
really,
public
really
information
unfortunate
officer,
thing and
Lieutenant
tragedy
here,
is
and
that
they are
as I
running a
mentioned
little bit
to you
behind.
yesterday,
Could be a
I
couple
am a
minutes,
widow,
but he's
and
not
when you
entirely
lose a
sure
spouse,
on the start
the
time
first
here. Now,
thing
obviously here in this
that
area,
you
it's been
think
circulating
about
between
and
different news
and
agencies
keep
here,
safe.
just that information
And those
was just
children
relayed to you
grow
regarding
up,
potential
and
identity
they are
of the
online.
suspect, and of
They
course that they have been
not
found.
hide
Expected to speak at this press conference, though, in just a few minutes, is Governor Spencer Cox, the FBI Director Cash Patel, both
videos are
Slinger is actually
circulating, and
commissioner
I
of
do
the
understand
Department
that
of
some
Public
social
Safety,
media
and
companies
FBI
are
Special
trying to
Agent in
take,
charge, Robert
some of those videos down
and so of
that
course
show
we're just
the
tracking
worst
the process here right now. Again,
they're not
this
going to
has
get
been
all of
delayed,
it,
but
and that is
attention
really the
seems to be growing here a little bit. Everybody wants to have these answers. So of course, as soon as
I
we get
just
that
have a little bit of a
information, we'll be
housekeeping
bringing to you
note
guys
that
here on
I want
AirSonline.com. We'll be
Sergeant
bringing
Kimberly
to you
was
live.
just up
Again,
here at
no
the podium
official
saying that
word
they would give
on
us
what time we're
5
actually
in the
supposed to
morning
start.
this press conference will begin. So we are at the very least 5 minutes out or more because we have not gotten that 5-minute warning for when this press conference is expected to begin. But we are expecting that law enforcement will tell us that, number one, they have a suspect in custody, and 2, who this person
Yeah, that's
is.
exactly right.
Again,
Chris, my photographer here, is panning around and sources to show you the kind of media response that has come about this event. Obviously, here in Utah, we covered this event because it's local. This happened here at our home. Of course, this is big and national and international news. So we are, of course, bringing you all of that coverage too, and so are various different media sources from across the world here. So definitely quite the turnout here this morning. And again, we're all just waiting for that press conference to begin.
We hope that he will deliver some comments and certainly answer questions, because many of us here have a lot of questions about what transpired on Wednesday.
I have seen slightly, and it's been rumored around here in this area that St. George possibly may have been the area or somewhere across the border near the edge of Utah, somewhere around St. George. It's kind of been what's been speculated right now. But again, no official word from authorities on where he was found or located, but it's supposedly somewhere potentially in southern Utah or across the border down south.
He was present having 4 days, and of course, it's been controversial in this particular episode. Controversial to the extent that you wonder about his long-term
Right, so we gave a lot of information over the last 24 hours, even overnight, because from the last press conference that occurred here at 7:30
posted on X that
Eastern time last night with Secretary Scott since then, and this press conference has been delayed to go over more of these details.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we know that in the last 12 hours we got video, high quality video, as well as additional as the law enforcement were asked the public to help in identifying the suspect. Now, in terms of comparing this to other high-profile incidents, it comes down to the mass shooting that happened in Maine.
Well, currently, right now, we have some local law enforcement officials, as well as with DPS. Of course, as you know, it has been announced that DPS is co-leading this investigation with the FBI, and they're really trying to marry both resources on the state and federal level. But when you look at this investigation, and Tamara, as you read that statement from the White House about FBI Director National Intelligence, this really would be a boon for him this morning, that within a 36-hour period, they were able to apprehend a suspect, and that's really what we're waiting to hear. But also to ask questions: why did this happen? How exactly did this happen? As we work through exactly, and as the FBI processes this information, do they have DNA evidence? That is another critical question here. We know they have a weapon because they did tell us that in a press conference about 24 hours ago. It's a high-powered rifle, but we don't know much more than that. Well, not yet, 7,000 tips, and not only that, but 200 interviews conducted. So you think about that within a 36-hour time frame. So I don't think anyone doubts Director Pashpatel's resolve here in trying to come to a conclusion of getting the suspect in custody. That's not the issue. The question, though, this morning is, do they have the right person in custody? Because, again, right after the shooting, it was reported that they had 2 persons of interest, they would call suspects persons of custody, and they were since released. Then yesterday, when we were here not 24 hours ago for press conference, they did release photos. Again, person of interest. It's very critical that we call them that, because what they said in this press conference yesterday is that the people who were taking information, police, are since being harassed online. So again, their language changed. I want you to I want to underline this point from yesterday to today. That person of interest that they called when they released those photos, that changed today to suspect. So again, language matters when it comes to law enforcement as we try to connect the dots on exactly where their investigation is and how it's going. If you'll forgive me just a moment, let me just step away as you ask me that question and look behind me. No, I don't see any. There was a group of law enforcement over to my right here, off see them anymore. I know one of them was a former spokesperson for DPS, now working for the FBI. I no longer see him. I do see Sergeant Rodney over there, but no official word, no group of law enforcement, FBI officials. So we're still, again, as you said, waiting for this press conference to begin. Sergeant Rodney said that he would give us a 5-minute warning. That has not come yet. So this could take a while before this begins. Yesterday, we were told that there would be a press conference in the early afternoon. That was pushed, I should say, until 8 o'clock in the evening. So time is of the essence, but again, we're waiting for them. They will start that press conference when they want to start it.
Nothing from official sources. Stephanie, as you mentioned, there's a lot of speculation. I think there are a lot of questions being answered by law enforcement if there was any connection between the shooter and Charlie Kirk. If there was any point before, but to your point, given how public of a figure Charlie Kirk was, especially in very controversial areas, trying to engage conservative branding, voters, was the target of many threats before.
Check 1 2, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Check 1 2 1 2 3 4.
This was just a mic check. So, yeah, you're right here. Time is really of the essence. We know that in covering crimes for decades now here and talking with law enforcement, working with law enforcement. We know that 24-hour period is critical. It's now stretched into 36 hours. But again, with the amount of evidence and not only that, the photos, the videos, the 3,000 people estimated in that audience with Charlie Kirk on stage. So many people sending out social media videos that the FBI really were able to hone in on what was important. Even our own newsroom have seen videos, particularly a person on the crew, multiple videos we have seen time and again. So they were really able to work these last few hours to piece all of that together. They were able to do that yesterday afternoon. They released officially a video because no official
exactly right. No word yet. Officials here. Everybody. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, there we go. Sorry, things are very fluid this morning, obviously, with this new information coming in, and obviously we're here just waiting for this press conference to officially begin. No official word on the start time yet. We were originally supposed to start at 7, pushed to 7:30, and of course now it is 7:52, so we're nearing 8 o'clock now. But again, we've had a lot of new information start being pushed out by the Associated Press about the apparent identity of the individual suspect here. So of course there's a lot of new information coming out, and I'm sure the officials who are going to be speaking with us, which include Governor Spencer Cox and the FBI, are going over this information here and making sure that they have all of that verified for us before they share it publicly. But very much a very fluid situation out here this morning, especially as we're waiting for that information. I do see several law enforcement officers here in the area as well. They're just sitting around at this point, so I think everybody is waiting right now for this press conference to begin. Sorry, give me one.
Hello, hello, testing, testing. Hi, everyone. We are 4 minutes out from starting the press conference. Thank you.
We are wanting to know two things here. Is a suspect in custody? We were able to confirm that independently from what President Trump announced. But number two, the second thing we really want to know is who this person is. And as we await this press conference, we hope that we will get that information from FBI Director Kash Patel as well as Governor Spencer Cox. Matt's going to be here.
That's exactly right. As much as we see and also we see what is posted online and what other sources say, it is very, very important for the integrity of our reporting to make sure we have those verified sources. So while we are saying this information, we do want to make it very clear that we have not had this confirmed from anybody here at this press conference here. This has all just been speculation being posted online at this point. But again, we're hoping to get that confirmed information and bring it to you guys here live.
Yeah, it really is. They've restricted our movements here on campus this morning, but Deja, I think you make a really good point. If we go back to Governor Spencer Cox and his motto of disagree better, and to be able to talk about politics in a way that the undercurrent isn't hate, that we are able to have political discourse in a manner that is more polite. And so
yeah, that could be exactly right. We have heard that he potentially was somewhere in St. George or across the border, and so that is in at the southern part of the state here, or over down in Arizona, one of those further southern states there. So they very well could just be wanting to bring him up to Utah County here at this time. But again, we can't say for sure why there's been such a long delay. But of course, I mean, with this new information coming out, it's pretty clear that this is what they'll be talking about here. So hopefully we'll get that information here in just a few short minutes. Again, they said about 2 minutes ago that it would start in 4 minutes. So
he has said this as well, that this is not something that
officially
we want
begin this
here
press conference
in Utah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I just spoke to a gentleman yesterday who was here from overseas. He said the last time he was in Utah to cover a story was 2002. And that was, of course, the Winter Olympic Games. So this is what brought him back to Utah to cover this incident right here. Again, as I mentioned, not something that Utah wants to be known for.
You want me to say? That's right, John. We were given a 4-minute warning 3 minutes ago, so we are expecting any second to see officials coming in. We are told to expect a similar cast of characters that we saw last night. That would be the governor, that would be the Utah Public Safety Commissioner, that would be Cash Patel from the FBI, and the FBI's special agent in charge.
That's a really good point, Deja. I will answer that in just a bit. Let me just step aside. There's some information being handed out behind me. I just want to see what did they just
Yeah, absolutely. The entire campus is closed off right now. Obviously, we are inside
3
the
minutes
building right now,
ago.
so
Okay,
they
so we've
opened
got
up this section for media to come in for this press conference here. I just have my
I just
photographer
want to mention
Chris
the campus
walk down the hallway a
so,
little bit to see if he can
students are
see
not able
any of the officials
to
coming. It
come
seems
here.
like everybody
Now, as we
gearing up again.
understand
There's a
it,
couple,
yesterday,
looks like FBI
as I
agents,
mentioned, as I talked
Department of
to you
Public Safety
about
officers
some of the
here also
classrooms with
waiting
laptops
for
and
this press conference
cell
to begin.
phones
So it
still
should
in
be
classrooms.
any moment
They
now.
did
Again,
go
we're about half
through
hour late
and pick up
from
those
the
items.
new
The
start
students
time. They told us they
will
originally
be
told
able
us
to
7.
pick
They
those
decided
items
30
up
minutes
and
long
along
pushed
to
it.
them. But
Now this
point,
pass, we're 2
right
minutes
now,
almost
the
late
campus
at this
is
point
closed.
here. But I think this also goes to show just how fluid
and
an
really
investigation can be. Obviously, we all want to have these answers. We all want to know what exactly took place here, but sometimes we don't have those facts right away, and it does take a couple days and potentially weeks and months to truly fully understand the scope of this investigation. And they've done hard work over the past several days to bring these answers to us. Hopefully, we'll be able to get those confirmation or confirmed details here shortly. Again, possibly the identity of the shooter, where he was found, where he's currently at, and what steps they're going to be taking moving forward.
The suspect in custody, Tyler Robinson, is a 22-year-old individual, and that's according to a law enforcement source that requested to remain anonymous. And so there's a lot of
I also want to mention too something that I found inside of a classroom. They escorted us just to show us what was left behind by some of these students, and I just happened to be walking in the classroom. I bent down and picked up a girl's ring. Somehow, in the midst of the chaos, she lost her ring. I picked it up. I put it on the professor's desk at the front of the classroom, hoping that whoever that ring belongs to, she will be able to find it. Another classroom, we went into desks piled up in front of the door, and that's what some students even told us, was that the doors wouldn't lock. They wouldn't lock. And so to be able to make sure that they were barricaded inside, they had the men in the classroom stand in front of those doors to make sure no one was able to get in. And then we saw desks piled up as well.
turn himself into police. We don't know where this occurred, how, if the person, left the area, left the state. That was something that was speculated in the last couple of days, but the president did say.
Yeah, this morning a lot more sections were taped off with crime scene tape compared to yesterday. There wasn't much crime scene tape over the entire campus. Obviously, we knew the areas we were not supposed to go, and obviously we didn't know where that crime scene was, so we weren't allowed over in that section. But arriving here this morning, there's a lot more crime tape set up, and we were actually over behind the quad area, or that court area where that shooting took place. And we could still see that that tent that Charlie Kirk was sitting under is still set up at this time. It looks like they're still processing that crime scene, or at least holding it there for the integrity of the investigation. Obviously, again, waiting. This is an intense investigation here that's going to take days.
I think you make a really,
Campus
really
is
good
closed
point, Deja,
until
and I'm glad
September
you
15th.
brought up
Of
that
course, if that
number that
investigation
people
needs
can
to
call,
be
because I think
further on
oftentimes
campus here,
people say, well, I may have experienced this, but it's not trauma. Trauma is really, really big. And this wasn't the kind of trauma that I might need help with. But I really want to encourage anyone who feels like that they have been impacted by this in some way and might need to talk to someone. Help is available. It's not weakness to ask for help. It's not. Please ask for help if you need it, because there are resources available. I do, yes, I do. It really honestly hasn't crossed my mind as we have been walking around campus and with so much law enforcement here. There's a heavy police presence. No, I absolutely feel safe.
Folks who came out tried asking me questions that we would get all the details on officials came to the podium here. So we do expect to see
Tuesday morning, this week we just had posted any official social media, whether that's and here, Lieutenant Karen Bowden with Utah Highway Patrol was met with super close to us individuals also back here in this room. It seems like potentially some officials may be reviewing this right now and create some sort of change. Hopefully that may continue just already getting started. And again, speaking today, including Governor Spencer, they do have other officials. We have custody the Department of Public Safety and the Navy to do some of this in Utah's office. It looks like they are trying to go more, as I mentioned, Governor Cox saying that they will distribute better. I just want to make sure that we do see people coming down the hall. This great balance is expected to begin. I'm going to go ahead and take this as we await these officials right here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At today's press conference, we will hear from Governor Cox, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Sheriff Mike Smith. We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact, Tyler, also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver it to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement,
to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
Commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state. and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country, and he said, "I'm not optimistic." He said, "I hate optimism." Like, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country, and I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in.
I cannot speak to that right now.
Governor, how do you interpret the engravings on casing?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you talked about this level of hatred that this person expressed in an interview. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
Can you talk more about the family, what they had to say about the suspect?
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here.
About what the family is saying about Tyler Robinson.
I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah.
Governor, do you have details on how he got back to Washington County and how the gun was obtained?
So how we obtained the gun? The gun was found here.
The gun and how the shooter then was able to get back.
So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities and did he discuss voting?
I'm sorry?
Did the suspect plan to carry out any other attacks?
We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released.
Is
yes.
he talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Thank you.
You've spoken very eloquently about trying to reunite this country. Do you feel that this is a watershed in American history?
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history, yes. The question is what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s, and having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage, again, I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together, the Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight, last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be, I mean, you know, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. But this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m. the timeline that Director Patel gave us led to the arrest at 10 p.m. Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah, so I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.